if you are not uncomfortable today, you didn't develop or you didn't grow. So if you can't get comfortable being uncomfortable, you should probably find something else to do. Because here's the thing, unless you're in your late 60s, tech is not going to leave what we're doing. You can't ignore it anymore because now the industry is off of paper. It's time to get some things going, right? And to get caught up.
In today's episode, Courtney and I sit down with Todd Schuchart, and we're going to be talking about how to enhance the customer experience using AI. Not only that, how to generate leads compliantly and making sure you understand how to turn yourself into your own media agency and brand yourself to your customers to drive more customers to your business. With that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver, and today we have a very special guest with us, Todd Schuchart. Todd, what's going on, buddy?
What is cooking, gang?
Man, I am pumped for today. We're going to be talking a little bit around social media branding, marketing compliantly, driving more life insurance. That's what today is about.
It's going to be a fun conversation. It took us a good 3 tries to get this intro because we were laughing so hard. So if you want a good conversation, that's what we're doing.
We're here for a good time. We're here for a good time.
I like it.
Maybe not a long time, but at least a good time.
Either way, let's do
All
it.
right. So let's get into this, Todd. So I would love, so we were started off something around what you do from a marketing standpoint, how you're helping agents, and you said that you help agents with innovation, and it's slightly different than what maybe has been done in the past. So I would love to know what you're seeing currently with the agents that you work with and what they're having success with from how to innovate, how to market themselves, how to drive more life insurance.
Yeah, you know, it's a good question. We spend a lot of time actually on how do we get the conversation started in today's world where our attention spans are sub 2 minutes, maybe. Mm-hmm. I actually texted myself something the other day, and when the message came through, literally like a second later, I was surprised I got a text message. So, sorry about the bubbles. But yeah, I think that what we see, so typically innovation is coming, and we saw a lot of this during the pandemic, right? It was digitizing the business. It was wrapping innovation concept around I digitized an application process, or we're seeing simplified issue type things coming to market now, making it a little bit easier and faster to write. What we didn't see, and I think where the biggest gap was, is truly innovating from the agent's chair forward, meaning how do we get agents to understand how to communicate in today's world at the pace in which it moves, being relevant, doing so, and not losing themselves and their personality in the process. Mm-hmm. So everything that we've done around the lead gen piece is really all with the mindset that we've got to get the agents into sales conversations. And it's learning how to communicate differently, right? Texting is not what people think. It's not email. You know, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen text messages as long as my arm, and then they sign it sincerely, and it's like, oh. You know, so I brought my son on who sells for us, and he's in his early 20s, and he was teaching people that a period at the end of a sentence means you're mad at somebody. And it's interesting because I do it like everybody else does. No, that means it's the end of a thought, and we're moving on to the next capital letter, right? No, not at all. So it's this whole like reprogramming and what do we do and what kind of tools do we need to kind of move this forward? And you think about the space, and it hasn't really truly evolved in how long? I mean, it's been kneecap to kneecap, burning old school forever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And COVID hit, and not only have we moved into selling either over the phone, all over the country, or via Zoom, but we get to use tools now like Crankwheel, where we can invite people in on a telesales call to see us filling out the applications. And utilizing a simple tool like that removes the objection of, I'm not giving you my social security number. Why do you need my banking details? I'm not asking. The carrier is. You see it right here on the application. Nobody ever says anything. And it's just little things like utilizing tools in order to get ourselves positioned better to write more business. So I think that those are the biggest pieces, is utilizing what's out there and then getting people to think about how that applies to what they've already been doing, not to change who they are. And that's the biggest challenge, right? I always said I wish I was around when we went from stone tablets to cotton, writing on the whatever they were doing for paper, because I was wondering if it was still as much of a struggle to communicate in the new technology as we see challenges here. So, and then you take from COVID forward, so many, like we're using AI now all the time. Nobody even thought about that 5 years ago. So if, what we see a lot too is that when you have a big organizations pushing innovation down, the innovation that's coming out today is 4 years old. Like, yeah, great. You got a CRM that does some lead nurturing. Who doesn't? Where's the AI pieces? Where are you doing to help elevate and lift the agents so that the agents can convert more of those leads into what we need?
Yeah, we could, and you just said a lot, but the one thing I want to maybe dive into is how do we use tools to continue to establish human connection? Because you said something like it's always been butts in chairs, kneecap to kneecap, like relationship business. And look, I still believe we're in the relationship business. I believe that people want relationships. I mean, what was it? 83% of Gen Z surveyed still want a relationship with their financial advisor. 79% of millennials, 80% of people are going online before they ever to shop for insurance, but 75% of those 80% are contacting an agent to make a buying decision. And so I'd be curious what your thoughts are, because I'm a huge proponent that, hey, we have to utilize technology to make sure that you're establishing human connection and you're just not another person on the end of the phone. So I'd love to know your take on this and what you're seeing agents do specifically in the life insurance space to utilize tools to establish that human connection to drive production.
That is such a great, and it's a lot, right? There's a lot to unpack there. So the first thing is, remember that you're talking to people, right? On the other side of that device, there's a person there. So that interaction, just because the device is in between the two of you, doesn't mean all rules of interaction are gone. Saying things that are relevant to the conversation that's coming back and forth is incredibly important. Understanding what the tools service. So as it sits right now, like a lead nurturing from an SMS automated standpoint, not AI, just pre-canned SMS messages, they're designed to do one thing, and that's to get you into the sales conversation. That is it. They're not designed as quoting. They're not designed as closing tools. We aren't there yet. You can see it. We actually did some tests early on where we were sending cold traffic to a very easy online application. 3% converted without any human interaction. 3%. Think about those numbers. What's that?
This is from the text message, or this is from pulling them into the sequence?
This is just bringing them into an application from an ad on, say, Facebook or YouTube, right?
Wow, 3%.
Right into the application. And it's an easy app, right? They fill out their thing, they pick one of three, they're done, they pay. 3% converted. The rest needed agent interaction. Mm-hmm. So if that doesn't tell you that you're still incredibly important in this equation, I don't know what will, right? I don't think that people are ever going to get to the point where we're not going to work with people.
Amen.
Yeah. And AI is another tool in our toolkit. It's not replacing us.
I actually think, now this may just be my personal opinion here, I think AI will actually push people to establish human connection even more because they are going to want to have a real relationship. AI is going to be awesome. There's going to be information that looks like humans that are AI, but I truly believe that that's actually going to push humans to want to deal and work with humans even more often. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens over the next 3 to 5 years with data, but that's just what I believe.
Oh, I don't disagree. It makes it more boutique, right? Mm. It really truly feels like white glove service and human connection is always going to be that piece where the caring is going to come from, right? Hey, you know what, Courtney, that's not the right plan for you. Let's really talk about what we got going on here. And the thing that I think tech misses is how dynamic people are, right? Like everybody's into more than one thing. And that's what the internet has shown us, right? You can have all these interests and still we want to talk to people in a silo. And we forget to take the silos away now and actually open it up. And that was what we learned in with newspaper, right? Well, if you want to sell to men, you put it in the sports section. Okay, cool. But I read those Dear Abby things all the damn time. So if you're not talking to me there too, you're missing it, right? There's more to me than just a sports page, and there's more to most people than just that singular focused piece. And I think that's what tech misses. And it's what we miss as people because we're so focused, right? So the big thing that we coach on is asking questions to understand. Not to reply, not to put them into something, but to actually learn something from somebody. And you can't do that via text message. It gets lost in if I'm in a bad mood, my tonality on everything I read is mad. Mm-hmm. You don't miss that when I can do all this kind of fun stuff, right? And keep my tonality where it needs to be.
So I would be curious, these text messages, you're saying short, sweet, and to the point. What do you think is a surefire, like, okay, this is a text message that will get somebody interested and pull them into the conversation?
Hey, Courtney, Todd Schuchart following up with your request for X, Y, and Z. Following up with you on your request for life insurance is really what we say. I'm following up with you because you asked me to on your request for life insurance because this is important to you. I can do this via text message or a quick phone call. What do you prefer? And then what are we doing? I'm going to meet you where you are. Well, right now I'm at work, Todd. I can do some things via text message. Awesome. I can tee up a few questions. I can do a little bit there. I can get a couple of things from you, but I'm not going to present options. Right? So, hey, Courtney, I got everything I need to put together some options for you. I've got time this evening. What time do you usually drive home, or when can I catch you for 7 to 8 minutes? Right? Well, how long is it going to take? I need 7 to 8 minutes, Courtney, to do my part. Depending on how many questions you have, we can be in and out of here in no time at all. So what works for you? That's texting. I'm not selling anything other than one thing. Talk to me. That's your first close, right? The first close is to get them on the phone with. Actually, your first close is to get them to reply. After that, it's to move them to the call, whether that's Zoom or on the phone.
And you feel like when you bring up the word life insurance, it doesn't turn people off?
No, not at all. So I don't talk about death with life insurance. We actually talk about the things that people care about. How do I use it while I'm alive? Right. So living benefits are a big piece for us. AD&D, big piece for us. Infinite banking, annuities, IULs, all have wonderful death benefits, but have really are important to me right now. I can use this as a tool while I'm still here and breathing, right? So I think that how we message folks and how we have those conversations changes and separates us from others. And those are the things we do, right? It's not just it's not just about dying. It's so much more to it than that. And I think that, and it's not about the amount of coverage, and it's not about the monthly. None of that. These, you see these big companies out there. Oh, get $1 million for 50 cents. Yeah, what is that? One in 100 might qualify for that. And you just pigeonholed yourself into a corner, and now you've got people commoditizing the process. And I think that's where it's gone wrong. So, yeah.
But I think there's a good point here, and I know that you can go back and forth on this on the messaging, but I think it's following the same track of what we're trying to do is getting somebody interested in having the conversation. Mm-hmm. And carriers do that a ton of different ways, and maybe that is get $1 million in death benefit for 50 cents. That's at least sparking the conversation.
So I was going to ask you, Todd, so you said the text message. So this is somebody that you're texting that said they're interested in life insurance. So if I'm an insurance agent right now, maybe I don't have great marketing around life insurance. I don't have people like responding. If I wanted to send out a text message to maybe a customer that I'm doing P&C business with, I help them out with their auto and home. All right. I would like to have a life insurance conversation with them. Do you have any advice on how you would structure a text message like that to generate some type of curiosity to even start that conversation?
Yeah, I think one of the most underutilized things that we can do are policy reviews in combination with a financial information form or a financial fire drill. So, hey, Courtney, time for your annual review of your auto or home insurance. Need about 15 minutes. What's a good time we can catch up? And we're going to get on. We're going to talk about your current plan. I'm going to have some options to either save you money or increase coverage, whatever that might be. In that process, we're just going to build some rapport. I got to connect with you, right? So, Michael, congratulations on the new job. I hope all that's going well. Hey, you look like you've been working for more than 10 minutes. What'd you do before this? Oh, blank, blank, and blank. Oh, awesome. Do you have an abandoned 401k? Oh, I do. Oh, what are you doing with that other than watching it dwindle right now in the market? So if I could show you how to protect that from loss, only participate in gains, is that something you'd be interested in? It would be. Now we're talking IUL, annuity, infinite banking, par whole, there's all kinds of things there. So depending on what you have in your portfolio is how you craft those conversational questions you're asking when you're doing your reviews. Yep. If you just sold the policy a week ago, one policy does not make a client. We all know this, right? You got to get that you got to set that hook, that second hook. So what do we do now? We do policy delivery. It's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to cut down on chargebacks and buyer's remorse. It's going to reestablish the rapport in the relationship. It's going to take care of all their friends that told them they were an idiot for going with whatever you sold them. It's going to allow you to work in those financial information questions, and then it's going to allow you to also circle back and start getting referrals. And what do you end up with now? Now you have a client in front of you. And it's a completely different scenario than hawking a P&C policy and calling it a day. Because you commoditized yourself. So I'm going to come in now. I'm going to get the guy for $4 less a month. He's going to tell you to take a long walk off a short pier. I'm going to do all that delivery stuff. He's never leaving me. So I think that, yes, you got to use what you have and what your initial lead in is, and then figure out a way to structure yourself to get back in front of them again. We have to keep touching, right? So we call it 2-4 sell. Every 2 weeks for the first 12 weeks, we're in front of somebody. We're in front of the same people. And that could be a simple text message. Hey, Michael, I saw that you got your policy delivered. Any questions? That might be week 6. No questions. Cool. Week 12, Mike, I do really well when I get to talk to folks like you and Courtney. I was wondering if you could help me out. Who do you know that I could speak to? Right? Awesome. What's their number? And who else? And you keep saying who else until they say, Todd, I don't know anybody else. You're like, okay, cool, thanks. Right? Can I tell them all that I work with? Yeah, absolutely. And now where do we end up? We ended up with the thing that most people don't do, and that's referral prospecting, but it's built into your client retention, growth, and cross-sell opportunities. That makes sense?
Makes sense, man. I love You're like, hey, you're willing to help me out? That's exactly how we teach to ask for a referral. You willing to help me out? Like, we're not bringing up referral. Like, come on. No one says that. Like, are you willing to help me out? Who do you know? Like,
I just wrote it down because all of our Weaver Sales Academy members that are listening are like, oh, yeah, it's the help. I love it.
Help.
It is the easiest way to get referrals from anybody, right? Especially if you've done your job. Now, if you call them up and you're swearing and they're all mad at you, I wouldn't ask them for any help at that particular moment. I'd smooth that over, but
So I do want to go back to the very first thing that you said when we went into, because I love that you want to do a policy review. So that text message would just read like, hey, Todd, it's time for your annual review just to make sure your policies are in line. You're getting all the discounts. When's a good 15 minutes you have on the calendar in the next 2 to 3 days?
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
Simple. And if they say right now, you better be ready to jump.
Yeah.
The trick to that, though, is this. When you get on that call, you have to review their policy, and as you're doing it, you have to stay in what we call rapport. So as you're in rapport throughout the policy delivery piece, what are you doing? You're asking personal questions because you're having a personal conversation. You're listening to understand, not to tee up what you want to say next. And you're looking back at your notes from when you spoke to him the first time, and if Fido's in the background barking, you better get the dog's name.
Yep.
Because when you're on the next call and the dog's barking, you go, oh, Courtney, is that Kooky in the back? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, you remember their name? Yeah, well, I love dogs. Right? It's those types of things. So you have to practice this part of the process. I wouldn't wing it, because what you don't want to do is, so where are you working? When did you quit? How much you got in the bank? Nobody wants that. It's not going to get you where you need to be, and it doesn't feel good.
I'm going to use the word hate. All right? I don't use the word hate very often. I hate like just pen to paper task type questions, just checking the box. And so many, because we're in the people business. If you're just checking a box, people are going to respond to you like, yep, nope, yep. It's not a conversation. That is like a yes or no conversation, which is not intriguing to the customer at all. It takes 0 skills. You will be replaced by AI within the next 2 to 3 years. If you continue to just go through a checklist of questions, like you have to have the ability to build rapport, find problems, solve problems. That's why we are in the business we are in.
Well, I
100%.
think you brought up a good point there too, Todd, where you're saying I am listening to really understand versus listening to respond or tee up the next thing. And I think that that is one of the things where we talk about, but we don't actually emphasize enough how important it is to listen, to really gather more information, to get a better understanding of their full, complete picture. Not just to go, oop, there's a gap here, let me fill this gap. Like, let me understand this full picture. Let me listen intently so I can establish that human connection. I want to go to the tech conversation again because I am so intrigued by this, because you brought up that you do what we call an onboarding appointment. So you have like your policy, like right when somebody gets signed up, and then you're also doing a policy review, which we call like a financial foundation or a financial review. So talk to me a little bit about what that automation looks like. So somebody that's listening right now that doesn't have those two things, do you have like a system in place to where, okay, when somebody comes in, they automatically get a text message? What does that look like to make sure that we're setting up not only the policy review on the front end, but the policy review maybe at like a year? What does that look like for you?
So for us, we lean into the systems for it, right? So CRMs are, I'm hoping that everybody listening has a CRM or access to one at this point in the world. CRMs have historically been used by upper management to kind of put their thumb on our heads to keep us grinding along, right? And I think it's the wrong use and the wrong intent of what that system's for. CRMs are a salesperson's tool to look awesome in front of your clients. It's remembering a year later what the dog's name was for, on client 4,302, right? It's setting tasks a year from now, 2 weeks from now. It's that automated message that when I mark that closed one, that it sends out that booking link to get their policy review done. I already know they got their policy. It's emailed to them. I want to give them 2 or 3 days with it, and then we're going to sit down and go through it, right? It's utilizing the birthday features and all the little, like, do you remember the last time you got a handwritten note from a sales rep? I can tell you the last time I got one. It was 14 years ago. I haven't gotten one since, and it was a decade before that I gotten that one. I can tell you the agent's name, exactly what he sold me, and what was in that note, because it was that much of a disruptor to what everybody else is doing, that it separated him from anybody else that I've ever done anything with. And you guys talk to salespeople all day long. Like, how many people do we talk to on any given day doing what we do? And to remember that from 14 years ago is ridiculous. I shouldn't know that, but I do, because it was that different. So as we embrace technology, I think it's important to understand everything old is new again. That taking that minute to write that note out, I don't care how bad of a pediatrician handwriting you have, do it. Because it means something to the person who's getting it, that went to the mailbox and sees a handwritten letter to them. Nobody gets that anymore. And to prove the point to a ridiculous level, do you have any sign spinners in your city? Spinning the signs on the corner about pizza or taxes or we buy gold or whatever that might be. You've never seen those guys on the corner?
We've seen them. It's been a hot minute, though.
Yeah.
But, sandwich boards were a huge marketing thing in the 20s. And everybody thought these sign spinners were new. They're not. Everything old is new again. So you're bringing, handwriting notes, I promise you, is going to differentiate yourself from 99% of the people in the market.
You're reiterating everything that we believe, that we teach at Weaver Sales Academy. Like, we teach a process of right when you close the business, 2 weeks later, you write a thank you card. You write a thank you card at the 5 month, because at 6 months they get their PNC renewal. And then every year after that, on the annual renewal, not only are you writing a thank you card, but you're hitting them with a phone call or text message to have an in-person review with you, either virtually or in person. Yeah. Because that's the only way you're going to continue to maintain that connection. And it's what you're talking about, the little things that mean so much to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the biggest investments, best investments anybody can make, and again, this is not digital, is a magnetic business card. Mm-hmm. You want to really endear yourself to somebody, be the name that's next to the artwork that their kid just came home from school with. What does it cost? It's nothing. You put it in the card when you send it out, and now you're there forever. And you never know when that refrigerator magnet is going to pay you back. And it's never when you think.
I love this so much because I am of the belief, and I think we all are after this conversation, that technology is really to enhance the customer experience. Yeah. It's not there to replace the customer experience. It really is there to make us look better, to help us out with these day-to-day tasks that really bog us down. I want to get into social media though, because when we were talking before we hit record, we were really focusing, especially in the captive space, on how to generate leads compliantly from social media. And I would love your take on that because you're big on branding and leveraging social media for leads.
You know, for the first time, and so truthfully, it has never, ever been easier to start and grow a business than it is today. As overwhelming as technology can be, it has never been easier. And here's why. I can get in front of who I need to get in front of tomorrow. That easy. So if you're afraid of video, start shooting video all day long, every day. If you've never written a blog, write them every day for a month. Because what happens, and what you need to understand before we get in kind of the syndication of it all, is you've got to find your voice. Right? My ridiculous, but this is all, I mean, this is, I'm a bit of a, well, I'm a loudmouth. I'm a New York guy. I live in the South. I don't really fit in, you know, but I love, I mean, it's ridiculous, but you know what? If somebody doesn't ask me if that's Gumby once a day, they don't have their eyes open when we're chatting. So it's little thing, right? And they're like, oh, you're not a robot. You're like a real person. And it's how do you want to do that? So you got to find your voice. You have to find your setting. And then we have this incredible opportunity where I can build my own network of syndicatable channels. So what is that? It's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's my personal blog. I don't care if people say they're dead, they're not. Mm-mm. It's believe it or not, Reddit is smoking hot for what we do. You don't even have to post anything. You can just go answer questions for people in other people's posts. And it's TikTok. But the trick is you're not getting on saying, I sell life insurance, buy my insurance, get it. That's the wrong way because everybody else is doing that. Mm-hmm. So if you're a P&C person, why would I want a bundle? What's the advantage, right? What is the back door to your product or your solution? You know, everybody goes running through the front, and I see this a lot in bigger groups where they'll repurpose content across all the agents. It doesn't have any feeling. There's zero personality to it. Now I attach my photo, but that doesn't mean anything. It's not you. So we look at, yeah,
boo.
You know when you see the guy who says, "Oh, download my 500 Facebook posts," do not ever touch any of it. Now, when we talk about this, we can start to teach AI how we speak, and we can get posting ideas and scripting ideas. You can get GPT to write you a sales script. You can say, "I want this to be for." I need a sales script talking about property and casualty. It needs to be less than 1 minute because it's going to go on TikTok. Awesome. They give you the script. You fine tune it to what you need it to be. You put your personality in it, but it gives you that baseline. And then you take what you edited, you put it back into GPT, and you say, now turn this into a Twitter post. Mind the 170 characters. Make this and give me a hook. I need a hook. Right? And we do these, and you start to learn kind of how to do that stuff. I think the biggest win and most underutilized social platform right now are YouTube Reels. Mm-hmm. It's less than 60 seconds. Super easy, highly, highly watched, super sticky. And education, right? We really want to adopt giver's gain, right? You give to get. It's age-old stuff. So I want to educate you because I don't know the difference from P&C. I won't change my P&C insurance carrier because we went through a hurricane one time and all my neighbors didn't get anything fixed and my house was back to normal because of the current. Now, for me, if I was selling for that company, that's what I'd talk about.
Yep.
I wouldn't talk about my rates. I wouldn't talk about anything because we do not have the cheapest insurance. We have actually probably one of the most expensive. But when you need it, it's there. Mm-hmm. And that would be my whole shtick. I would talk all different angles all around how when you need us, we're here for you, right? And find some tools. So Big View, I use Big View all the time. Big View is a teleprompter. The nice thing about Big View is you write your scripting, you can control the speed. They have an AI tool that'll help clean up your tracks if you need it. They've got a tool that when you're done, you say fix eyes and it makes it look like you're looking at the camera instead of reading the lines. So there's wonderful little things out there you can use to make you better at what you're doing. But the basics are get your channel set up, have consistency across them so everybody understands who and what you do, right? And then the other part to that is finding your voice. And then the last piece is run into the fear. We're salespeople, gang, at the end of the day. If you are not uncomfortable today, you didn't develop or you didn't grow. So if you can't get comfortable being uncomfortable, you should probably find something else to do. Because here's the thing. Unless you're in your late 60s, tech is not going to leave what we're doing. You can't ignore it anymore because now the industry is off of paper. It's time to get some things going, right? And to get caught up. So that's my content story. That's really what I would focus on. And if you're stuck and you don't know where to go, ask GPT. Hey, I need 20 ideas for a Facebook post about P&C. And here come your ideas. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, that fits into this and that and the other thing. And you're off and running. You didn't have it, write it. It's still you. You're just looking for a little bit of help, right? It's like an artist. We all know what a naked person looks like, but yet we still have one stand in the middle of an art class. Why? Because I need because it's fun. Because I need the reference right in front of me, right? This is your model, and it gives you that ability to have the inspiration that you need to find the pieces and get that voice going. Once you get your voice going, don't think about stuff at bedtime because you'll be up all night writing notes. It's awesome.
Okay, I love this. I'm actually getting ready to record 2 episodes on this exact topic on how to reverse engineer a problem to create content and then how to prompt ChatGPT to give you some social posts. But the thing that we hear a lot because we put out so much content is what mics are you using, what background, what camera. So I would love your take on somebody that's just getting started. What do you need to focus on?
Amen.
Got one of these? Best thing in the world. You got this?
So the podcast listeners right now, if you're listening to this on Apple or if you're watching on Spotify, he just held up his iPhone. All right. So if you're watching on YouTube, you already saw that. If you're on Spotify, you saw that. But you Apple podcast listeners out there, you didn't see that. So he just held up his cell phone.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I have generated, I'm not kidding you, 1 million leads. I have shot every single one of those ads on this phone. I've got a camera on my computer. I'll use that. I don't use my computer's camera because it's just not quite there. So I ordered a Logitech. It's a 4K. I've got a simple microphone. You don't need it. But here's the thing. So when I first started in digital, it was with HGTV on the interactive team. We did a test back then, and there used to be flip cameras. This was before the iPhone. Remember flip cameras? They were these little square single lens, right? And we did a flip camera, and then they did the HGTV studio level YouTube videos about a home repair. The flip camera outperformed the high grade studio camera stuff 2-1. Because this is production and this is big media. We don't trust that. This is Johnny in his bathroom, proving what plumbers have. And we like that better, right? And that's the one that got the most views. So the things that are important about audio or about video, there's really 3, but 2 that you have to have. You can't have a shaky camera. We don't want to give anyone a seizure, right? Nobody's going to watch it. It makes your eyes hurt. The other thing is you can't make people strain for sound. So a tripod, a $5 stick mic for your cell phone, the adapter you need, and your Big View app on your phone, and you are running, baby. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. Now, I happen to have a light. The thing you don't do is you don't stand in front of a window. It's over there. You don't stand in front of a window because you look like you're in the witness protection program. If the camera's here in the it darkens you. So you always want the window in front of you where now that's your light. Mm-hmm. You can turn on all the lights in your house and stand in one spot, and it's perfect. Right? It'll work. You can sit in the car. Don't drive. You look like a studoots when you're doing that and trying to make videos. You can go to the city park. Anywhere that is... And changing your background is a great thing. I don't shoot all my videos in front of this wackiness like our insurance ads. I'll go to the park down the street. There's this little fountain. I'll sit there and I'll shoot my little video, and it kills it. But we already have the equipment. So anybody that says they need to have a Canon $4,000 camera and a boom mic and the light things and everything else, you are anchoring on excuses. You're not actually trying to get her done, because all you need is this damn phone, a stick mic, and a tripod. And you can buy those kits on Amazon. I think they're like $30.
Yeah.
It's nothing. You probably can find them at the Goodwill for $5, because I'm sure there's a ton of people that have given up on the process already. So keep that in mind. Yeah, that's it. Simple.
I love it.
I love that you bring that up. I'm going to add one more. Your refrigerator has incredible light. Open up your refrigerator. It's actually really great lighting. And I think it really is. Sometimes we put unnecessary hurdles in front of something that is very scary, and we're saying, okay, maybe the equipment will help me. But to your point, Todd, when you're trying to find your voice, the only way you find it is by speaking or by writing. It's actually by doing the thing. So doing it with a cell phone and your AirPods is perfectly fine. Because the first 100 videos are going to be pretty bad. And that's okay. Like that's really the barrier to entry, because once you cross that point, you're at the top 1%, because most people are unwilling to put themselves out there like that. So if you are somebody who's listening and you're like, okay, I really want to start a podcast, or I really want to start putting out more content, you have everything that you need right now. All you need is just a dose of courage, just like 20 seconds of insane courage to just record the video, put it out, and just see what happens, and just keep doing it over and over and over again.
Shit, you could use my little Apple AirPods and my phone. Like, let's roll, man. Like, an organic content actually is really great in today's time. So I think organic content, try it. You hit on the consistency. You got to be consistent with everything. So, Todd, this has been fantastic. I feel like we could probably talk all day. This has been really, really good, juicy stuff. I have a page full of notes.
Yeah,
Todd, if somebody wanted to work with you, follow you, connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
You can find all of our socials at razorridge.com. That's our main webpage. We've got Razor Ridge on YouTube, ton of free content. Really, you can see where we found our voice. Wink, wink for all those that can't see. We've got a private Facebook group on Facebook. I was going to say a private Facebook group on YouTube. But yeah, we're everywhere. Just come hang out. It's we got a lot going on. We ton of free sales resources. I run free weekly live sales coaching training calls with agents. We focus on not really anything specific other than selling and making connection and rapport and small talk. And last week we talked about small talk alone will give you a 32% lift in your closing rate. How do we do that? Super simple stuff, right? It's 101 type stuff, and we open up for Q&A and that kind of thing. So find us, hang out with us. We'd love to see you.
You say it's simple stuff. The masters at everything are the masters at the basics, baby. Let's go. It's why Michael Jordan did chest passes and layups every day at practice. Kobe Bryant showed up and did free throws. You have to master the basics. And that's what you're talking about, baby. Todd, this has been fantastic. We appreciate you. All of those of you that are tuning in today, thank you so much for your support. As always on The Buzz, we love you. We appreciate you. As always, time and attention are by far our most important assets. We appreciate you spending time with us today. Go out, make it great. Todd, thanks again, brother.
Thanks, gang.